What's up, everybody? My name is Morgan Clement. If you are unfamiliar with me, I am a digital illustrator and artist. And I usually do like digital paintings and sketches and things like that. And I've been trying here recently to get better at posting videos of me working on said artwork. Unfortunately, earlier this year, I said that. I said I was going to post more frequently. I'm going to post more artwork here on YouTube. And immediately after I said that, I disappeared until what is now September, or the end of September going into October. And so now I need to backtrack. Since I posted my last video, which was about my 3 stacks portrait and was also an introduction, I also did a piece in March entitled Twin, which is a portrait of Christian Scott, who is a jazz musician from New Orleans, Louisiana. You know, jazz specifically. I know it's kind of strange for somebody. I'm fairly young, so for somebody my age, I guess it's kind of strange to like jazz. A lot of my friends from high school are actually jazz musicians, and so they've introduced me to a lot of crazy, music genres, all kind of stuff. And so I think that it's probably difficult if you are paying attention to jazz to ignore Christian Scott. Like, he is the new wave of jazz. He is single-handedly changing the landscape of the genre of jazz. And I am somewhat of a cultural purist kind of a person. Like, I believe that, jazz is a Black art form. It needs to be contributed to and maintained and kept as part of Black American culture. And so, he's made that a huge part of his work as well, where he's trying to revamp jazz to make sure that it stays within Black culture, like stays relevant within Black culture. And he's like, used all kind of like trap beats and like 808s and all kind of stuff along with playing a horn. So I don't know, I just love the way that he approaches the art form. He's insanely talented. He's a composer. I think he's also got like an app that he started for other composers. Like, he's just a dope guy. And so I'd been meaning to do a portrait of him for a while, actually. And I don't know, March just seemed like the right time. He is a twin. He has a brother that looks just like him who works in film. And one of his albums, I think it's his second or third album, is entitled Stretch Music, and he's got a track on there called Twin. And I kind of based this portrait off of the aesthetic from that album. It's just very bright red, almost monotone. But then he's got obviously his horn, which is like breaking through all of that color with a really bronzy, yellowy kind of a gold color. And so I decided to do a portrait that kind of mimicked that color scheme because I really liked it a lot. So I wanted to go back and address that. So anybody who knows what has been going on in the world since February, March, knows that all hell is broken loose, right? Like, the world is in turmoil, or at least if you are in the United States, the world is going crazy right now. So understandable that, it kind of shake up my art process and whatever. So for me, it hasn't really changed my work setup too much. I'm still at home, working from home on my computer all day, every day, like I always do. Certainly don't have a whole lot of drive to work on portraits. I tend to just work on portraits when I feel the urge to, or when I tend to work on digital portraits and illustrations when I feel the urge to. And so, the coronavirus just killed all of that. I've not experienced the virus myself. I don't know anybody personally. I think there's only like 1 or 2 people that are like 2 or 3 degrees removed from me that I even know of that have had the coronavirus. But I know, I'm certainly not one of these people that is acting like it's not real. But yeah, so it's difficult to focus on art and art creation and creativity and things like that as the world is slowly burning and dying and all this other kind of, well, it certainly feels like the world is ending. So, not to be too morbid, of course, but yeah, so in February, obviously, we were aware of the coronavirus, right? It was overseas at that point. It wasn't here in the United States, but it was, right? And so just watching how the United States just continues to this moment, refuses to provide assistance to its citizens, to make sure that we're all safe, to make sure that, or to try and mitigate spread, all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's just been difficult to watch, but difficult to tear your eyes away from, right? Even just as I'm filming this, last night was the presidential debate. And just everything just is in discord right now. And so that does a lot for, I don't know, creative vision, wanting to work on pieces. It's like, do you work on it just to get your mind off of things? Or can you even muster up the energy to do so because you're just so focused on, the state of the world right now? It was really difficult though, starting to get, into the topic of the coronavirus. Towards the end of working on this piece, it was really difficult to focus towards the end because we all know that like March is when, things really started to hit the fan. So that's when things were shut down. I live in California, so things shut down fairly early in comparison to some other states. The governor here, Gavin Newsom, was on guard because we were on track to be just like New York City. Like, he believed that we were 2 weeks away from being just like New York City. And as we know, looking back, New York City lost about 30,000 lives. So he was very proactive, I believe in that regard. People have their criticisms. It was one of those things where you can't tear yourself away from the news, right? And not to say that, for once you start to get towards the end of a piece, you're kind of in autopilot, right? I was kind of in autopilot, but I felt that I just wanted it to be done, right? Like, I just wanted the piece to be done because it's difficult to focus or to want this piece to mull over the finer details of this piece while there's this crazy, world event taking place. Like, how am I supposed to focus on this while people are dying by the thousands from this weird, crazy, mysterious virus that, we don't know anything about? And so, this was back when people were like, do you wear masks? Do you not wear masks? When are we going to be able to get a vaccine? Shut down the stores, everything. Like, what is the food situation? That was around the time when like all the food was sold out in the stores. Like, you couldn't get like flour. Remember, people were going through there like, I'm gonna bake bread for the first time in my life phase. Like, all of that was happening in March. And so it's understandable that kind of threw me off track. So for me, I don't want to speak for all artists. For me, it's difficult to throw me off track. Like, I use I don't know if there's a good or bad thing, but I use, art as somewhat of a I don't want to say a coping mechanism, an escape tool. I don't know. I think that, I don't spend too much time focusing on the real world when I could be spending time, on my art and those kinds of things. And so it takes a lot to rattle, someone like myself and say like, you just can't do this, right? Like, you just are not in the mental space, or, I don't want to say physically unable, but you are distracted and unable to focus on art, right? Usually when I'm working on a portrait, it is because I feel compelled to do so. And one thing that will kill that desire to work on a portrait is surely a world pandemic. So, yeah, I've not worked on any portraits since then. But here recently, I wanted to work on a piece. I've been reading a whole lot of stuff because you can do that in quarantine, pandemic, shutdown, lockdown stuff. I've been reading a lot about ancient African history and things like that in Egypt. And so I've been wanting to work on a piece that is, based off of Egyptian narrative and things like that. So that's what the next piece is getting ready to be about. And so I had to come back and circle back to this Christian Scott piece because I don't want to, I want to make sure that I do Christian Scott justice, right? Like that's the whole reason why I did the portrait in the first place. So that's that. Last things, I wanted to address where I've been, right? So I've been working on a business, shameless plug. The business is called Matin and Morgan. This is French for the word. This is a French word for morning. And honestly, it kind of arises from a piece, if you're familiar with some of the other pieces that I've done. I did not do a video for Already the King, but in that piece, I used Jaden Smith as the inspiration for that piece. And in that piece, he's got some shorts on where I decided to put the word matin, the word for morning, on his waistband for his shorts. And I was just like, man, I really wish I could have shorts that said that, like shorts that look like that. And so from that idea, I was like, well, why don't I just start an actual like business where I can like slap that on things because that's what I want to do. And so that's what I've been working on. That's where I've been. Even though I was not working on like portraits and filming myself, working on, digital artwork and things like that. Surely I've been working on stuff and that's one of the things. And so keep an eye out. It's slow progress, but we'll get there. You got to start somewhere. Thank you so much for tuning in to my video. I know it's been a minute. Hopefully I'll get better at doing this on a regular basis. But I thank you everybody for for the support that you guys have been sending my way. All the nice comments that you guys always send. For whatever reason, y'all seem to never forget about me because as I disappear for months, I come back and y'all are like, we are here for this. And it's just the greatest thing ever. So thank you so much, for all the support and I love you all. And, till next time, thanks so much.